Super Mario Odyssey came out last month, and now it's time for me to talk about it after everybody else has talked about it. If you've been following me on this channel for a while, you know that, other than animation, I really love Nintendo. I mean, I guess you can tell from the background there of the Nintendo stuff. And like any Nintendo fan, I do enjoy a bit of Mario. Though I have always enjoyed the 3D Mario games better than the 2D Mario games. While not the first game I ever played, Super Mario 64 was the first game that I ever completed 100%. And I didn't even own it. My cousin had it, so I went over to his house to play it, and I completed it. This is actually a plush of Mario I got back in like 96 or 97. And Sunshine, while it does have its flaws, was still very enjoyable. And now, after its 10-year anniversary, I still think that Mario Galaxy is one of the best Mario games and one of the best games in general. And even its sequel, I think, is really excellent. It just has some fantastic level design and amazing music. I have played through 3D World, though it was more of a sequel to 3D Land on the 3DS. And now we have Super Mario Odyssey, which is a fantastic little game. Though I do have my problems with it, so I'll go over the bad stuff first before I go into the good stuff. First of all, there's no hub world in this like in Sunshine and 64 and the first Galaxy. Though it's understandable for what kind of game it is, since it is an Odyssey, literally, where Mario is traveling the world. Then there are motion controls on certain aspects of Mario's moveset, though they're not completely necessary. You can go through the entire game without ever using any motion controls. I rarely use them, and the only time I really did was when I would shake the Joy-Con to do a certain action. The biggest gimmick of this game is the fact that Mario can throw his hat and possess enemies, and also throw his hat in general, and use it for platforming. The fact that you can use Cappy as sort of a platform makes Mario's movement a lot more expanded than it usually is. You can get to certain heights just with your hat that was impossible in previous games. So controlling Mario in Odyssey is very fun, and possessing certain enemies can be a real treat. You progress in this game by getting Power Moons, which serve as stars like in previous games. Though instead of having a mission or an episode for a certain star or moon, it has it where the moons are just there and you get them and you stay in the level. Where in games like 64 and Sunshine, it would be just like the title of the shine or star, and you would go get it, and then it would boot you out of the level. In this game, it's more akin to something like Banjo-Kazooie, where you would get Jiggies, and you would just keep going through the level to see if you could find as many as you could. And that's what this game is more like. It's more like a Banjo-Kazooie than it is a Mario 64, as far as the collection aspect goes. And there are a ton of moons in the game. There's like over 800. So there are points where it feels like you're just tripping over moons, where you're just finding one after another. In the late game, it does get a bit harder to find, but luckily the worlds are very fun to traverse, so it doesn't really get that boring. There's also region-specific coins that you can collect, so you can get certain outfits that are very cute you can put on Mario. And the regular coins act as currency you can buy stuff with too. But they serve another purpose in this game, and that's pretty much your life meter. Instead of having lives in this game, when Mario dies, you lose 10 coins. So it's going in sort of the Shovel Knight way of replacing lives. Though I don't think that the punishment is harsh enough, because sometimes when I die over and over, I really don't lose that many because I get a ton of coins. So losing just 10 each time doesn't really seem like a big deal. Especially when the game itself really isn't that hard. Right now in the game, I'm in one of the unlockable levels at the very end, and even though the level is very long and hard, the punishment of losing 10 coins isn't really that big a deal. For me, it's more the punishment of not having any checkpoints, since that final secret level is very long. But that's part of the post-game. The game where you just beat the game is actually fairly short. If you really wanted to, you could just do it in a day. But that all depends on how much you want to explore each world. And each world is unique enough to where you would want to explore a bit of it. Each one has its unique resonance, its unique music, its unique feel, I guess. And after just beating the game, the reward for just beating it is pretty excellent. It definitely hit the right chords of nostalgia for me. And while I do have problems with the game, like the fact that there are some moons that feel very similar in the way you get them, and the boss fights, while they look cool, they don't really feel like anything special when playing them. With the exception of the final boss, the way the game ends is just hilarious and great, and I had this big stupid smile on my face when playing it. And after doing that and getting the reward for beating the game, had me smiling for like an hour. So the game is definitely a very good Mario game. I do really like it a lot. I would say this, along with Breath of the Wild, it's probably worthwhile getting a Switch right now for those two games. However, I'm not sure how much I like it compared to the other 3D Marios. I still think I like 64 and Galaxy better. I still have a lot of nostalgia attached to 64 for me, and Galaxy just blew me away when I first played it. While I had a lot of fun with Odyssey, and it definitely met my expectations a bit, I don't think, like, it went past my expectations, which I think somebody also said something like that. There are definitely a lot of surprises in here that I did not expect at all to be in the game. But as far as how much I thought I would like it, I liked it just as much as I thought I would. Which I guess is probably the best thing I can say about the game. If you're a fan of 3D Mario, then duh, it's a no-brainer. But if you've never played a 3D Mario, this is probably a good starting point. And if you like 3D platformers but have never played a 3D Mario for some reason, then yeah, duh, get it. I'm actually excited to see if Nintendo will do DLC with this like they're doing with Breath of the Wild, because I'd love to explore more kingdoms they can come up with. So if you have played Super Mario Odyssey, tell me down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, by now we're getting a bit used to winter. We're like soldiers in the middle of a campaign, growing hardened to discomfort and better able to